Well, good morning, folks, and I want to do today's report for you. I didn't do one yesterday because the market was sideways. It was a US holiday, and there hadn't been very much action. But today the picture looks a little bit different, and I'm going to approach today's report from more of a sort of overall picture of the different currencies. And one of the reasons for that is because mainly in the trading room, we're looking for particular setups which may or may not occur at particular levels. And it's very difficult to try and predict those or see ahead into the future as to which way the market might react or move in certain times. And so often the reports that I send out, like this one, are very speculative and not really looking at the bigger picture. So today I thought it would be interesting to look at the bigger picture across a variety of different currencies. And so let's get started. The first one is the euro, and I'm just going to drag this out. And the first thing that strikes me is that over the last few days, the euro has been pretty much stuck in this sort of channel, bouncing off this 38% retracement. There's the move from the bottom to the top, and just sort of channeling downwards in a typical sort of flag type pattern, which means that one would expect a breakout through this channel top or the flag top to create a rally. But look at what's happened today. After the breakout through the top over there, we broke out, we held above, and this is a daily chart, we held above the channel top yesterday, and one would have hoped, if one was bullish on that breakout, that the euro would continue to rally up to 139, 138 or so. But you can see today we're falling back inside this channel. And this is a classic channel breakout or flag breakout scenario where you've got a false break, and after holding above it for a little bit, encouraging the bulls to get along with the market, we've fallen back inside. This will be very interesting because if we do close beneath this black line, beneath the top of the channel or the flag today, it will be a classic channel breakout failure, and we should then head lower down towards the lower channel line, and perhaps even so that'd be around 133.50, which is also where the 50% fib is. So you can imagine if we drop down, let's have a look a bit more closely. You can imagine if we drop down to that purple line, which is the 50% fib, will also be resting on the channel bottom. So that would be the first target if today continues to move lower, and then perhaps even through the bottom of the channel, which would be then a real confirmation that this channel has failed, down to 132.50, which is the 61.8% fib. I would say that's probably a likely target if today we hold down beneath this top channel line and stay within the channel and complete this channel failure. If you have a look at it on a 60-minute chart, pretty much the same sort of scenario. You can see we're moving down sharply right now, just in the last 3 hours, and I've got the same lines drawn on the 60-minute chart. If I just drag that across there, you can see it's not quite as clean or clear as the daily chart, but there's the same channel, and there's the first target, that purple line, and then a bit later on down towards the green line and the bottom of this channel if we sort of edge sideways and lower down towards 132.50. So interesting scenario. We've got some nice strong movement downwards, and it'll be interesting to see how that works out. Let's have a look at one of the other currencies, and the other interesting one I've just pulled up is the Aussie dollar, and I've got the daily chart here. And on the daily chart on the Aussie, we've actually got a bit of a wedge formation, and you can see we've got this sort of well, it's almost an ascending triangle, but one could look at it as a wedge as well. And we've failed again for the third time at the top of this wedge or triangle. And again, this is quite a bearish pattern. We need to be able to close beneath this rising trend line in order to get some more bearish momentum. But once again, very similar to the euro, I can draw a Fibonacci retracement from down here at the bottom up to the top. And you can see the first retracement level is at 0.94. It'll be pretty significant if today we hold beneath the 1 level, the parity level, which will again also encourage bears. So looking at that on a 60-minute chart, again you can see us failing at the top of that channel, and beginning to accelerate downwards towards the bottom, which coincidentally is around just below the parity level. So once again, we should reach 0.9980, and then perhaps even lower still from there as we move down. So they both look quite bearish. Now remember, we're not trading on prediction or speculation of what might happen. I never trade like that. We trade, in the Charter Group, we trade the reaction to the market as it happens, based on what we're seeing taking place in front of our eyes, rather than trying to say, okay, let's get short the Australian dollar because we think it's going to go down. That's not the way we trade. So all of these speculations are purely that, and the trades that we take are only if and when we see the trigger or the signal given to us by our trading systems as they occur. And the two trading systems we're trading is the G7 system and the T-junction system, and they're both slightly different. One is naked charts, no indicators at all, looking for a particular type of setup with a small stop loss, and then the G7 system, of course, is another system. So we're not looking to speculate based on what we think the market might do. We're looking to react to what the market actually does do, and there's a big difference. So let's go across and have a look at some other currencies. I just need to drag this across and put this onto the correct place. So that's the euro and the Aussie dollar. Now let's have a look at the Swiss franc in a second. Let's just pull this up. Now I've got the Swiss franc hourly chart here. So what I'm going to do is go across to the daily chart and have a look at it from a daily perspective. Alright, so here's the Swiss franc daily chart, and this is also quite interesting because what we've had is really, let me see if I can get it all on the chart here. We've had a lot of up and down movement over the last year or two around about this parity level as well, around about the 1 level, up a bit to 1.24, down to 0.94, up and down, all over here, very messy. 2008 was a mess all over the show, and also the stock markets. And what we've got here is what really sort of looks like a bearish falling down pattern. And you can see we're sort of making new lows, lower highs, lower lows, but we've stalled at this level right here at 0.93-ish, and we've had a double bottom there and a consolidation above there. Let's just have a look more closely. So you can see we bounced off that level. Incidentally, that level there, 0.93, is the lowest that this pair has been, the dollar against the Swiss franc. And let me see how far back we can go. Let's just switch to the weekly chart, in fact. It'll give you a good idea. So I've got the weekly chart on here now, and there we are at the moment, 0.93-ish, and I can go all the way back in time, 1985, 83, when we're at almost $3 to the Swiss franc, and we've been around the 1.5, 1.8, around 1, and now all the way down to 0.93. So we're at more or less the weakest the dollar's been against the Swiss franc for, well, as long as I've got recorded history, about 25 years or so. Let's zoom in again and have a look at what's happening in this case. So basically what I'm saying is we're very, very oversold on this pair. And if we have a look at this little bit of consolidation here over the last week or two, well, are we going to hold above that 0.93 level and make a bounce, or are we going to fall lower? I don't know, but today it looks like we're actually going to get a bit of a bounce, and perhaps in sympathy with retracements on the euro and the pound and so on. So I don't know, this is not a currency that I really trade. In terms of, again, speculation, I look at this currency purely from a T-junction trade point of view, and there was a butte yesterday right there, an opportunity for us to sell, well, that's another story. Not going to go into that now. So that's the Swiss franc, and the only other one I want to look at, let's just move this down, is the dollar yen. Let me just pull this across. So the dollar yen And once again, I've got an hourly chart. But what I want to do is put on here the weekly chart and the daily charts for you to have a look at, because this is quite an interesting chart. This is the weekly chart of the dollar yen, and once again, let's go back many years. And I first started trading the dollar yen at around about here in about 2000, and this was the very first weekly chart pattern that I got the opportunity to trade, with this head and shoulders pattern at around the 125 level. But let's go all the way back, bearing in mind we're just around about the 80 level now. And if I draw a line at that low just a couple of months ago, you can see the last time we got that low was in 1995. That's about 15 years ago, and never that low before. So I can't even get can I get monthly charts on here? So yeah, no, yes, monthly charts. So from a monthly perspective, we're at, again, very similar to the Swiss franc. We're about as low as we've ever been, the dollar against the Japanese yen, at around about $80 to the yen. Sorry, 80 yen to the dollar. So are we going to get a double bottom here and a bounce? Well, who knows? Currencies very often trade in these sort of 20-year cycles, and it's probably due for a bounce. Let's see what happens. If we zoom in to the daily chart, we see an interesting scenario here. Again, just after that bounce of the 80 level, it's been very messy, bouncing around, a lot of speculation to buy the dollar yen, and then collapsing back down, more speculation to buy, and always the threat of central bank intervention from Japan. Let's have a look at the hourly chart. So pretty inconclusive after bouncing off there, just moving sideways. And if we have a look at the hourly chart, which is where we are right now, just in the last few hours, you can see a very interesting pattern with a big rally in the dollar yen, then a drop down to 82.80, and what looks like a big rally. So we're busy short at the moment, sorry, long at the moment. I'm busy long at the moment from around about the 83.05 level, and with a bit of luck, this spike followed by the collapse and the move up again will be a false spike high, false spike down, and then the move up, and hopefully we'll start to get some rally on the dollar yen. Once again, I don't really trade the dollar yen based on speculation. It's been proven far too difficult for that over the years, but there are plenty of opportunities to spot particular chart patterns and potential G7 setups, and that's what we're looking for. So an overall summary, pretty key levels where all the currencies are at the moment, particularly the Swiss and the dollar yen at sort of all-time record levels against the dollar. And so it'll be interesting to see how those react at the current levels. And then, as I showed you, the euro has had a beautiful classic, let me just remind you, a classic channel breakout or flag breakout, and then a collapse back down into the inside. If this continues lower, we should see the euro depreciate quite quickly, and we should see quite a nice move. We haven't seen one for a while, so we should see some momentum picking up, considering that we've been consolidating for a period of time as well. So euro looks bearish. Aussie dollar, again, the same sort of thing. We've moved from that area. Sorry, the phone just went off there. We've moved from that area at the top of the channel, moving down to the bottom of this channel. Looks quite bearish until we get below 1, and who knows, that might move lower. And pounds sort of following suit there, and the Swiss franc we talked about earlier. So those are the sort of scenarios. Trading today, how are we going to go about it? Well, I don't really know. I'm long the dollar yen for now, and we'll have to see whether that works out. Otherwise, if you're not short the euro and the pound or the Aussie, you'll have to wait for an opportunity for a pullback before getting into the short side. And that's it for now, and I hope you enjoy this. For those members, a little bit later on today, I'm going to be recording a T-junction trading video for you, so I'm going to go into that in a lot of detail. I may even send that out to my mailing list as well, free of charge. So I'll see you a little bit later on.